Look at this, a Silicon Valley server farm. The vault to man's greatest wonders. Selfies, cat videos and winking emojis. Speaking of tech wonders, with the Geico app, you can get roadside assistance, digital ID cards, or even file a claim.
Do that. Yeah, that should work. It's not happening. Just try again.
This, a Silicon Valley server farm. I think I found your problem. Wonders. Selfies,
Thanks.
cat videos and winking emojis. Speaking of tech wonders, with the Geico app, you can get roadside assistance, digital ID cards.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Trevelyan. I work for Water Games and I am here to kind of show you guys how to set up and use ice creature control. Now, I am warning you right now that I am not the developer of ice. That would be Pit. So I'm not by any means as fluent with ice as Pit might be, so I might stumble a little bit myself, so just bear with me. So if you have any questions on anything ice related, feel free to comment in the chat, and when I get around to looking at them, I will answer them as I see them. Hey Grivix. Alright, so let us switch on over to Unity. Alright, so here I already have a project set up. I've imported ICE 1.3.6 as well as some free creature assets from the asset store. So first off, I would like to kind of make a kind of predator-prey relationship here, where one creature is hunted by another, and that's the easiest AI system to set up with ice. So the first thing we want to do is to open up the ice tool tab here and go into the creature control and open up the wizard. The new wizard here will allow us to quickly set up the scene so that we can get working with ice almost immediately. So we want to add the creature register, which has added the creature register to the scene. We can click on the scene here. For now, we'll just use the plain option, and then we can texture it later because it kind of is blinding at the moment. These options are really nice. I'm not going to put them in there for now. We're just going to start without anything cluttering up the scene. Player, I have the first person controller for now from the standard assets. Click and drag that into the scene. It would help if I switch the scene view. Make sure it's not in the ground. Alright, so we open up the player and we can click and drag the rigid body FPS controller into it, and it will set up the player for us. It'll add the ice creature player script to the player. Alright, so now we have to set up a creature. So for this, I just went ahead and found a little, let me grab a Rhino off the asset store. Grab him, put him into the scene. This is him. It's kind of a alien Rhino. So now we want to click and drag him into the slot here. Now here we can define whether he's an herbivore, omnivore, or a carnivore. Now I don't think rhinos eat meat, so we're going to make him an herbivore. Walking speed. Rhinos are a little slow, so we can give him, I would probably say, a 1 to start with for walking. Running we could probably leave at a 7. Yeah, that'll be fixed. And we can click generate, and then we can close that off now. Now if we go, first off, notice that it made 2 things in the scene. It made a home Rhino, which is the default home for this creature. Whoa, that's weird. Let me check some stuff here. Why are they 2 vastly different? Oh, what? Oh, sorry, I have other people living in the house right now. I'll get rid of this one because it's all bugged out here. There we go. Use this one. So now we have all of these nifty options here. These are the essential base options. If we open up the home location, this is where it's going to go if it doesn't have anything else to do. And it has animations, or animator. I changed this to legacy because for some reason it was set to generic early on and didn't work well. So I will have to add the animation component to it. And I know it's got about, what, 6 animations on it that we're just going to use for now. For now, we'll just use run. And walk. And this one's cool because he's got a little eat animation. Let me find it. Here we go. So our rhino can eat. And then, of course, idle. And dead. Oh, crap, where'd he go? There we go. And, of course, I'll just stick that in there. Alright, now we got to fix that up. Alright, so here are all the behaviors. With ice, all of the animations and kind of the meat of it happens with the behaviors and the interactions. Yeah, Grivix. He's not a biped though, we'll have to fix that. Good on you, Grivix. So we'll go in and go under motion and pathfinding to change it from biped to a quadruped. There we go, easy fix. The rest of the stuff we'll ignore for now. Alright, so behaviors. We need to make sure that they're using the right animations for these, because you can assign them to use animations. However, we do want the wrap mode for run to be loop, because we don't want them just playing the animation once and freezing. And we'll have to do that for all of them. Well, you're not supposed to be running when you're walking. Get back to walk. Loop. Idle. We have dead. We only want that to play once. And hunt is fine. Escape is loop. Sense will be idle. We didn't give him any attack animations for now. But for now he's just gonna run around and run away. And movement is what controls how fast he runs and walks, which is good. Although I'd imagine they don't turn very well, so let's actually reduce their turning for movements. And that's what the angular Y is for. Tells you how fast the creature will turn with any given behavior. Alright, so with that we could actually just run it and watch him wander around. But let's make sure our controller is right next to him. Gotta save the scene. Why aren't you doing anything? Alright. So let's see if there's any issues. Nope, he's walking nice and steadily. On blinding white ground, which we'll have to fix. And what's great about ice is that you can actually, for any given creature, if you have it selected, you can click on, especially with the newer version, you can click on debug, and it will show you these little gizmos here, and that's the spot where he's heading towards. And if we go to debug script, you can actually use the advanced gizmos, and that whole yellow circle here is his wander radius. He will stay within this circle and won't go outside of it, unless something, of course, chases him outside of it, which we'll work on in a minute. Once he reaches it, he'll find a new spot and go over to it. And he'll just keep doing that infinitely. Hello, the Arcana. So I'm getting tired of this blinding white ground. I don't know about you guys. So I'm going to find this green grid that I have and place it. It's much better on the eyes now. And better to break up. Alright. So let's head over to the creature register, which registers all the creatures and ice objects in the world. Although it's still using the Rhino mesh one, which we don't want. So I will grab him. We'll first click update. There we go. If you manually add ice creatures into the scene without going through the wizard, they will not be added to the register automatically. So you have to go in and click on update to get it registered with the register. Otherwise, it won't target other creatures properly, or players, or anything that's actually ice related. Alright, so let's get a quick kind of predator in here. I think I will just use a little dinosaur that I found. Yes, grab him. He's a little bit big, isn't he? Scale him down. That's a little better. Alright, so this guy uses generic animations. So I need to make an animator. Create animator controller. And I will just name it Direct Dino because we're going to directly control this with Mechanim and Ice. Ice is great because you can use parameters with Mechanim and control it through things like speed, direction, and other things. But for now, I'm just going to keep it basic and use it direct control and not bother with parameters. So I still do need to grab the animations I'm going to use. Yes, butterflies. You have to watch out for the deadly butterflies. With the new version of Ice 1.3.6, you can actually create flying creatures, which is why I have the butterflies in here. If I have time, I'll go over to how to quickly set up a flying butterfly with Ice. And I probably will not make it a predator. I'm sorry, Grivix. I don't know. We'll see about that. Alright, so I need to make sure I'm getting the right ones here. We need a idle, which is, I believe, called stand A. That's stand D. Man, a lot of stands in this guy, isn't there? Stand A for idle. Rename that. So we want an idle. We want a walk. We want a run. And we want an attack at the very least. Now these are just the bases. You can definitely expand upon these and add other animations if you have them, such as eating, even sleeping. But for now, I'm just going to set up the basics. And they do not have to be connected in any way because Ice will control which ones are playing. Alright, so let's get the walk, which I believe is that one. Run. And attack. Alright, no, come on. Go with attack A. Alright, so now that we got all of that set up, we want to assign the animator to it. Direct Dino. There we go. And now just like before, we go to Ice, Creature Control, Wizard, and we click on Creature, and click and drag the little dinosaur into it. Alright, so this is going to be a carnivore, because he's going to hunt down and kill Rhino. And we will set it to, yes, biped. I got it right this time, Grivix. Yeah, so here we will set it to use the stand A for idle, walk, and run. And we can untoggle the ignore for the attack and set it to attack A. And we can click generate. Switch back over the scene. Focus on the guy. Alright, so same as before, we have all these options here. And we want to go back into the behaviors and make sure that the ones we are using are are set to the way we want them to be. Yep, we got run at loop, walk at loop, idle is looping, and hunt loop. Yes. Where's the attack? There it is. Looping, do we want? Yeah, we'll leave it at loop for now. If it looks weird, we can fiddle around with that stuff. Alright, so all those are nicely set. Now, ICE includes the concept of body parts in with this new update, so that you can actually define different body parts of your creatures. And some of these body parts can be set so that they act as weapons. If they come into contact with another creature, then it can send damage to that creature. And you can have it mask out different layers so that it only damages specific layers. So let's go ahead, and I know for a fact that this little guy attacks with its mouth, because it's not like a raptor and has the little nails on its feet, the curved sickle nails. So to do that, we need to find its head in its hierarchy here, and it'll be on its spine. Grab, where's its head? Come here. I'm getting close. So many neck pieces. There we go. And actually I'm going to attach it to the jaw here. So by adding component and typing in ice body part right here, we can define this as a body part. And the base creature at the top will automatically detect all of its body parts, so long as they're children of the main ice creature. And here we want to enable the impact, so that when it runs into something, it damages it. Now you do have to be careful with this, because it could inadvertently damage itself, which I've had happen a couple of times. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can make sure that the collider that you're going to put on this weapon or body part is outside of any other collider, so that it doesn't come into contact with itself by accident, or you can mask out whichever layer that the creature is on. That way it can't inadvertently hurt itself. But for now, I'm just going to make sure that the collider doesn't come into contact with anything on the creature. Use a box collider, add that. Oh man, that thing's tiny. Come on, pull it out, down. That'll be good enough. Yeah, oops. There we go. And I will call this scene 01. Alright. Yes, Scott, it is a dinosaur. Although probably not the actual kind of dinosaur that would actually kill big game. Probably more looks like one of those small egg feeders. Anywho. One thing we do need to make sure is that we have to go back to the Rhino here and make sure that it has a collider on it. I have run into a problem in the past where if the creature does not have a collider on the main ice creature, the one with the ice creature control script on it, they will have trouble detecting one another. Detecting them via telling if they're visible to them or not. So we need to make sure that we add a box collider of some sort to our Rhino. Increase you. Come on, there we go. That should work. No, I might make it a little higher. There we go. Okay. And then I will add. Now you must have a rigid body on either the weapon or the dinosaur's jaw, or on the creature for them to detect collisions with one another. So to do this without having the creature flail around, make sure you add the rigid body and set it to is kinematic so that it doesn't receive any physics information. It will just be able to detect collisions. Of course, you could always use this later for disabling is kinematic to kind of make ragdolls if you wanted to. But that's an entirely different topic. Alright, so we have a rigid body on that. So they should be able to detect one another and collide with one another. Alright, so now let's go to our dinosaur over here. Click on him. Now we want to go to the interactions tab here. And interactions will kind of tell the creature how to behave when interacting with other things in your scene. So here we want to add a new interactor, and we need to enable it. So what we need to do is we need to tell it to give it a target object, and we can either select the object by name, by actual game object, tag, or type. Type is a new one. It used to be in the previous one that it was only tag, object, and name. I don't know what type does. Alright, that's new to me. I'll have to explore that a little later. No, come on. Switch over to... we'll just go with name for now. And we want it to interact with the Rhino. Rhino PBR in this case. Now this is Act 1. So this is the first thing that it tries to do. And we want it to hunt the Rhino when it detects it. So here this is the target selection criteria, which determines whether this is a valid target or not. When this interaction becomes a valid target. You can set it so that it only uses this hunt interaction when it's within a certain distance of the creature, its target. And in this case, let's only set it to 20. When the dinosaur is within 20 units of the Rhino, it will begin hunting him. And in this case, hunting is basically the run animation running towards the Rhino. Then we want a second action, which in this case will be the attack. So we will extend this. And this takes some fiddling because it depends really on the size of your two creatures. So the selection range might be different. If you have a really small creature, it might need to get really, really close. If you have a large creature, it might not need to get that close to actually hurt and damage, hit the other creature, its prey. So we'll just start with a 2. And if that seems to be too far, we can reduce it. And then we want to use the attack behavior. And what's really useful here is that if you find that you need to tweak a behavior, you can actually, without having to move into the behaviors tab, edit it right here inside the interactor. So this is a really neat feature. You can also save, load, and copy most of the things here. You can, like, for example, interactors, you can save, load, and copy. You can save, load, and copy behaviors. And you can save and load entire interaction sets. So you could make predefined interactions in sets of interactions and load them onto a creature so that you're not having to remake interaction sets over and over and over again. You can just kind of copy and paste. Alright, so this attack is correct, right? Yes. Alright, good. Now, one thing I need to note about attacks, and Ice's Pit has set this to default. In the older version of Ice, you had to, when you're using an attack animation, set the viewing direction to center so that your creature will always face its intended victim. And in 1.3.6, he has this set to default when you are setting the attack with the attack behavior, which is a nice touch. Takes off a little bit of frustration when you forget to set that with the older version and then wonder why your creature isn't working correctly. Alright, so this should be all that is required for him to attack the Rhino. What? That was not good. What's wrong here? Oh, yeah. One thing I forgot to do, and one thing Pit needs to change into the future is not to use a mesh collider for the plane. Because primitives do not like, and rigid bodies do not like interacting with mesh colliders. So that's easy enough to fix. We can just delete it and add in a box collider instead. And it will automatically conform to the plane. There we go. Now we're standing on solid ground. And the Rhino just died. Lovely. Alright. So we need to fix that animation there, because that was kind of the reason it was doing that is because it was trying to keep up with the Rhino while attacking. So what we can do, go to the attack. Oops, no, we want the dinosaur. Attack interactor here, interaction. And I believe we've got a retaining timer, which means it will keep doing this interaction for a set number of seconds. So in this case, let's kind of go ahead and set it to, well, 2 might be a little much. So let's set it to 1 so that it kind of hopefully goes through the entire attack animation before moving on. Let's save it and see if that kind of helps with the stuttering. Why am I so far away from it? And why am I not moving? Let's make sure this is actually tagged player here.
They got to see flapping ears, bouncing boobs, and derrieres getting bigger and smaller.
Bouncing boobs? What?
Okay, now they're closer.
You don't stress at work? It's all about the soup?
No, just
There we go.
pissed me off.
That looks a little bit better.
6 o'clock I was having to go get food at the store.
Although the Rhino isn't really dying now, is he? He's just kind of popping out of existence. So that's one thing we have to fix. And we can do that by going to the essentials, going down to default behaviors, because for some reason by default, the dead animation, even though I have it set, is not enabled. So we have to enable it, and he should die now. Although first off, we need to go to status and set the removing delay so it doesn't disappear immediately to about, let's go with 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds, he will be removed. So let's see how that looks, and come on. I still don't know why I'm not moving, but hey. Let's just switch over to scene view instead. Alright, come on. There you go. There we go. Now he is dead. Hopping away. Crows would have been easier. Oh, cows would have been easier, my bad. Well, not necessarily. You guys. Alright, enough watching that little dino hopping around. Let us see. Now, so it's kind of a little unrealistic for the Rhino to be just sitting there and letting the dino attack it like that. So let's go ahead and set an interaction for the Rhino so that he will run away when the dinosaur gets near. So we need to add an interactor, enable it, set the target to be the raptor or comp in this case, and we will the selection range. Let's go ahead and say that selection range of we'll go with 8. And then we want him to escape. Use the escape behavior when the dinosaur gets within 8 units. So let's go to the behaviors, and I found that oftentimes the escape is not set up correctly. Indeed, it is not. It's good in the run and the loop and whatnot. However, the move option should not be default, but instead the escape option. And then we got to specify an escape distance. So we'll say that he will try to escape to about 10 units, at least. Don't think I need to set that. We'll find out in a second. Alright, so that should be literally all I have to do for him to run away from the dino. Where they at? Oh, yep. There they go. Of course, since they both have the same speed, they're going to run off the edge of a cliff. So the dinosaur, notice, is running a bit too slow for his movement speed. So you can also solve that in, not necessarily in ice itself, but you can go into Mechanism here and change the speed of the animation. So let's actually go ahead and do that right quick. Grab run, and I would probably say about a speed of 3. Should be good. If not, we can change it. And 2 for the walk, because that's a bit slow. Attack should be fine. Yeah, we can add in the random angle, see if that helps with the straight line that they were running in. So now let's go ahead and implement the random angle, but also fix it so that they're both not running the exact same speed, because that's a little boring. So what we can do with ice is we can go to the escape behavior here for the Rhino. And let's go ahead and do random escape angle. Let's try 2 for now. And then to change the kind of speed, what we can do is let's grab, oh, come on, toggle the advanced button here for the velocity settings. And here we now have the option to have it vary. So here, let's go ahead and do, let's do 0.5. And, oh, no, let's do 1. Yeah. Actually, no, let's do negative 0.5 here. And then 0. So that's something he might be a little slower. Just a little slower. We don't want him going too any faster. Haven't played around with that too much. The mass inertia. Yeah. How high does this go? All right, so we'll go with default 0. So let's go with 0.2 here. Trusting you, Grivix. All right, so let's see how this looks. Whoa. Let's find them. Yeah, the dinosaur is gaining. Oh. What was that? Come on, get him. Get that Rhino. He keeps poking him in the butt. Oh. There they go. All right. Took him long enough. Now, of course, one thing that we can do here is we can take it one step further and actually allow the Rhino to actually run out of stamina, so to speak. So that as the chase continues, the Rhino or the Raptor, but in this case we'll just try the Rhino first, runs low on stamina and so stops running. And this is easy enough to do, although we need to activate the advanced stats in the status bar here. So we need to enable the dynamic vital signs. Now this unlocks a whole lot of different possibilities here. We have hunger, thirst, debility, stress, recreation, all these nice little things, and stamina. So there we go. So you could conceivably have, and here these are ratio based, the vital indicators. Health can be, you can set these here to have impact the health. For example, damage has a 1-to-1 ratio with health. So every time as damage increases, health goes down for a 1-to-1 basis. So here we could use something like stress to decrease stamina. So we could have stress go as a 1-to-1 basis and decrease stamina. However, damage would be fine too, so that as he takes damage, his stamina will go down as well. So as the raptor pecks and pecks at him as they're running along, he'll get tired and slow down more. I believe there's a way to actually directly link those two. The forward speed. Nah, rhinos can run fast if they want to. We don't want that. And there. Let's see here. There we go. Here, if we change this, as he takes damage or becomes more and more stressed, his fitness will go down. And as it goes down, his velocity or speed will also decrease. So this is all the way up to 1. So what we can do here is do a 0.1 here just for testing purposes. And that was what the dynamic influences for velocity, which is like the only option there. And in interaction, what we can do is we can click on the right under the priority, have all these options. If we click advanced, we can limit his choice here, escape, so that it fulfills one of these conditions. If this condition is true, then he's able to use escape. So we want to find his own stamina. So we want to limit so that if his stamina is below a certain point, that he cannot escape. So if his stamina is less than, we'll go with go with 50 for now. Less than 50, he can't. No, in this case, more than 50. My bad. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to escape until his stamina was lower than 50. That would have been horrible. All right. And then one thing that we can do here is an escape. We can select influences for the escape behavior, and increase stress. We'll go, for example purposes, 2. And then we want to activate the impulse so that it fires every second. There we go. And then we press play and see if this works as we hope it does. Or I hope it does. Can I move yet? No, I cannot. I have to figure that out. So there he is, running rather slowly already. Oh. And now he's tired. And now he can't escape. Poor Rhino. So that worked pretty well. Yeah, poor fella. And this is really just kind of scratching the surface of what ice is capable of. And this is just kind of the basics. Like I said before, you can have creatures controlled by the Mechanim animator here, which you can add parameters and a whole stack of things. Just as kind of an example, I had a different dinosaur set up with using Mechanim here, and he's got all these options which can control various things. I even have them set up for this one, I believe. Where are you at? To actually sleep here. And there's like a sense state here which you can go into. But that's a little bit more complex, and then some overrides here for when he attacks, respawns, and dies. But this guy here is just running on the direct controller. And you can set up things in missions here to make it a little more complex. You can set up outpost missions so that if, for example, hunting ground, a certain specific spot where the creature might hunt might be a valid outpost for when it gets hungry. And escort can be used for things like herding behavior. For herd creatures, or a pet dog for the player, if you will, so that it follows the player around. And then patrol missions is basically just a waypoint scenario where the creature goes from one point to another point, and they can be in order. If we enable this, you can have ping pong, so that it goes back and forth between them, goes to each one in a cycle, or just picks between random ones, which is really handy. Yeah, escort missions, so much fun. Gotta love those. Although in Ice's case, you really do have to love them because they work really well. And in 1.3.6, this version of Ice, it's a lot easier to create herd-like behavior because unlike in the previous one, you can set the target by tag and name and whatnot, and set all these limitations on it so that you can set it so that the options here ultimately here you could set it so that one creature isn't following a creature that's following that creature, which is immensely annoying. And I've had that happen in the last version of Ice, and actually had to code my own little spawner and herd handler so that that wouldn't happen. But in this version, Pitt has fixed all of that, and now you have a lot more options to limit the target and whatnot, and to limit which creatures it picks as its escort. All right, so are there any questions? Yes, Grivix, we will have herds. For example, sheep will herd. Not sure about rhinos, but you could create like a pack mentality in addition to herds, so that, for example, we could make a little pack of dinosaurs running around that will collectively try to attack the rhino, and then wander away together. Or create just a benign herd of sheep. No, as I said, all the stuff that I just showed you in this 1 hour is just scratching the surface. And I probably will be doing future ice streams to kind of tackle other aspects of it, such as setting up a creature to use the parameters in Mechanim to make a more complex AI that's a little bit more dynamic. As well as flight AI, since I didn't get to tackle that. Sorry, Grivix. No predatory butterflies. Maybe next time. Herd of butterflies, huh? What do you call a group of butterflies? A kaleidoscope, yes. That's what it was. A group of butterflies is officially known as a kaleidoscope, which is aptly named. Anyone have any particular requests for the next video? Yes, you can. And it'd be interesting to try to do flying flocks. Yeah, really, it really is called a kaleidoscope. Remember looking that up a while ago because I was curious about that, but then I forgot. I don't think they have any caterpillars on the asset store. Should get on it, Grivix. Model a caterpillar and send it to me. Shepherd would probably be the easiest thing to do, because we could just set the player to be the shepherd. But yeah, we can do a herd of sheep. And of course you can kind of use that whole same layout for other things like cows, buffalo, any other creature that really herds like they do. So if there's no other questions, and no one has any other suggestions, I would like to thank you all for coming to the stream and watching, and hope you join in on the next one, which looks like it'll probably be about herds, creating herd AI with ice. And maybe flight AI too if we have time. Yeah, flat terrains work pretty well. We'll need a nice big terrain for that. Maybe create a herd of sheep that get hunted down by the raptor this time.
No. No dinosaur. God, Ryan. See, that looks a little childish. Okay, you shutting down? Oh, no, it's 10 people there.
All right. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys next time.